Right, welcome back. This is a bit of a change from doing the painting of the wheel liners, brake dust covers and the underpan protection. I've just received this from Essex Rotary, so this was just a bit of some of the service. I've already got the engine oil, I've done the diff oil as you've seen, and done the gearbox oil. So I've got an oil filter, a new fuel filter, and a couple of belts. So this one is the main drive belt for the air pump, and what we've got here, the AC and power steering belts. I thought I want to change everything that I can while it's up on the lift, and I'm doing it. So what I'll do first is fuel filter, and I know getting to it under the car is a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to have a bit of a look, see what access I've got, see what lighting I can get rigged up, so we can show you how I'm doing it. But I have looked at other videos that they've done it. It's literally just a 10mm socket to get in and release the retaining strap which holds it up underneath. It's basically above the diff right at the back, and there's just two sprung clips on the pipes. I'm expecting a bit of fuel to run down onto me when I do that. So yeah, let's have a look under the car and we'll cut to that. So back under the car, I've just rigged the light up to see if I can chuck some light. So we've got the diff in the middle, the exhaust, the driver's side, or the right hand side drive shaft. And you can see up behind that, in there, where there's a bit of light now, is the fuel pump. So I can't actually get my hand, no, I can't get my hand up to point for anything, maybe a little bit, well I can see a shadow. So yeah, you've got this section of rubber hose which you want to take the fitting off on the right, so the left hand edge in the screen there, and there's another short section, hang on, sorry, at the other end of where my finger's kind of pointing to. Here's a little clip at the other end of the fitting. This is awful to try and film. So what I'm going to do, and there's a retaining strap around the middle of it, which is kind of a twin band at the bottom edge. If this can see, right in the middle there, you've got a better view than I have. There's a 10mm nut that should be able to take off, and that releases the retaining strap, allows you to slide the filter out. So I'll get a spanner onto there first, or a socket, just to make sure that I can shift that, which I'm sure it will be, 10mm. And then once I know that cracked, I'll have a go at just using a pair of pliers to loosen off these sprung metal clips on either end, and then be prepared to get dribbled in fuel. So yeah, I will come back to you probably when it's out and show you the condition of the old one. Alright, so I got this a little bit wrong. So if you actually see the light on up here, those are the captive nuts at the back of the bracket that holds this fuel pump. So I come down, I move around here to this is the diff, so you see this is the diff and the diff brace at the top there, and then you've got the subframe. So if you look above that, that is the back of the bracket. So those two 10mm bolts are what I need to slack off. So yeah, it's approach from the back, which is a lot more access. Okay, so you can see up in here my torch light. Open the torch. You can there. So that's the two bolts I've just taken out there. So that's, you see those. That's the bracket that's just dropped down behind. So now the fuel pump filter, in there is completely free. So I shall be able to take off the hoses. I should have a bit more movement with it now, and then drop it out, and I'll show you it once it's out. Okay, success. So here we go. This is the pump. So this is the, see it okay? This is the bracket that I had to undo from the back. Oh, so what we'll do is we'll pour this into a little cup in a minute and see if there's any mank in there that's come out. I mean, it looks in pretty good condition, so I'm not sure when it was last changed. So yeah, let's go into that. Right, so it's on the bench here. Got a quick wipe up when I was draining the fuel out of it. It's actually just in as good as new condition on the outside, but obviously we all know it's not what's on the outside that matters. It comes to this. So if we look here, maybe to clear on the wood, that's what's drained out of it. So we've got about approximately 150mm, which obviously didn't fall out when I was taking it out and it was hanging off the first pipe. You see there's quite a lot of, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's kind of just fine muck that's come out of it, which is cool, which is what it's there for. It did all pour out of the in fitting. That's just the way it wanted to drain. It's completely stopped now. So I'm assuming obviously that filtration system working, that what goes in would be filtered before it came out up to the engine. So having crap fall out of that end is what I'd expect if there's any in there. So yeah, I'll slacken off the bracket, fit this one back in. You see that it's got a slight pinch in the actual body of the filter to locate in this bracket, so you get the right way around. And this aftermarket one, or replacement from Essex Rotary, is identical. So happy days on that one. That was a good sign. Right, there you go. That's the new one, just fitted into the bracket and the little mounting pinches, as we said. Ready to go back in. So basically it's going to be the reverse, so pop it up above the diff and try and get the pipes on, and take off these protective caps when I get there. Yeah, and then once I've got the pipes on and the clamp slid back up with the pliers, I'll locate this back up against the bracket and put those two bolts in from the rear, and then give you a view of it once it's in.
Okay, there you go. That's your view. It's the best I can do, I'm afraid, of the new fuel filter fitted on the pipes. Oh, I've got a little bit of a cloth stuck on that one, a bit of tissue. So that's all fitted and bolted back up again. The bolting up was a bit of a nightmare because I had to wedge it in place so it's up against where the bolts go, and then go around the other side of the jack and put the bolts in. But yeah, it's all good. So that's that done. So the last thing we're going to do now, just to finish off that fuel filter change, is put this plastic underguard back up, and it's like everything else, I've just given it a bit of a clean up and a bit of a plastic rejuvenation while we've got it down. So pop that back up, which covers this section, and then I'll show you what it looks like again. There you go, that's the update. That's the bit of plastic. It's only 5 bolts. I've actually given the bolts a clean up and a paint, so look as nice as they can. So that's that side, looks all right. Once we've got those 2 guards, one that covers that section, so there's the equal opposite the other side, and the one that covers the gearbox, once they're finished being painted, the stone guard black underneath, pretty good. So now that's the fuel filter change done. I'm going to move on to do the oil filter. Right, next part of what we're doing on the RX7 is the oil filter and oil change. So having now just done the fuel filter, changed the gearbox oil and the diff oil, we will run the engine for a few minutes, just get a little bit of temperature in there to make it easier to drain out, and I'll knock the sump plug out, which is a 19mm spanner there. Essex Rotary have just sent me a standard run-of-the-mill oil filter there, and then we've got 15W40 mineral oil, which is what I was what I found online that was fine for these. So yeah, we'll put the sump plug just under there, so we'll knock that out and we'll run it into the drip tray, and yeah, we'll do that now. We'll fire it up first. Okay, so I've just had it running, just turned it off and dropped the plug out. It's a 19mm spanner, and now it's pretty much at the end of running the oil out. So we'll leave it to run and completely drip itself clear, and then we'll drop out the filter and probably leave it for a couple of hours while I do something else. So you can probably hear that's the oil pan draining out into the drip tray underneath. That's the oil filler taken off to let, well, it doesn't cause any suction unless it's draining out. There's your little filter down there. So what I'll do is I'll just put the camera down, knock the filter out, try not to let too much oil go everywhere, and yeah, see if it's all nice and clean, get ready for the next one. I've got my 64mm oil spanner, 3/8 drive, and I'll put that down on there. I'll just put the phone down, take 2 hands, crack it open, hopefully not too much dribble out, and then yeah, we get the new one oiled up, greased up and put in. Alright, you'll see, there you go, that's the old filter. It looks absolutely fine, but like I said earlier, you can't never tell what's going on the inside. So I'll just put a little bit of grease around the rubber on the new one, and I'll just put that down in there. You can't see really because my hand's in the way. There you go. And I'll just get the slack out of it,
and then just give it a couple of tweaks, hand tight, nice and firm. It's sufficient. There we go. So that's the oil filter done. I'll put the drain plug back in at the bottom, and I'll put in 4 litres of oil, and then I'll let it settle, probably give it a quick flick over, and then test on the dipstick. Okay, so I let the engine run for 2 or 3 minutes, just enough time to get it round the system, fill the oil filter. Now it's been draining down for maybe half an hour, so just check with that, with the dipstick that you can see there. And it's about 5 mil under the full line, so I'm happy with that. So that's finished, boxed off with the engine oil filter and oil change.